All right, here we go. Sandra Richardson, a dual American-Australian citizen, combines her communication and education degrees from CU Boulder with her passion for adventure and travel. She has a book out, Splinters, A Modern Mythic Journey, available on Amazon. And currently she's writing Splinters 2, In Search of Ancestor Giants. Ooh, cool. And she is finishing her 4 agreements topic. We started with the first 2 agreements. Now we're going to do the next 2 agreements based on the Toltec teachings of Don Miguel Ruiz.
It won't go left.
Not that long.
No.
Do you want to see the people?
I mean, we'll
You
try.
can see the people. There are the people.
We're just rearranging the furniture. That's what girls do. Well, that's what this girl does. Hi, Zoomsters. Okay. It's like being in 2 different realities. So I'm back to do the second 2 agreements. You know that everything we do in life is based on agreements that we make with others, with ourselves, with our community, with God. But the most important agreements that we make that really impact our lives are the inner agreements. And if you make those agreements based on fear, they will limit you. If you make them based on love, they will free you. And that's why I want to talk about Toltec wisdom. So, how many of you were here for the first 2? Okay. I'm just going to do a quick recap. So does everybody know who Don Miguel Ruiz is? Yeah, that was a stupid way to ask. Can you raise your hand if you know who he is? Okay, everybody knows. How about Zoom? Do you all know? All right. Basically, in a nutshell, he lives in Mexico. He studied with curanderos and things. He had a near-death experience and gave up going to medical school and devoted his life to sharing ancient Toltec wisdom with the whole world. So the Toltecs have always been revered. They have a very sacred city near Mexico City called Teotihuacan. And if you haven't been, you should go. It's amazing. Pyramids of the sun and the moon and the feathered serpent. It's really quite extraordinary. And so they've been at this a long time. And like many esoteric traditions, they honor all spiritual masters. So they embrace spirit not as a religion, but as a way of life to access happiness and love. How's the sound? Good. All right, excellent. So what Ruiz did for us was condense thousands of years of Toltec wisdom into a little book. And this is even the condensed version of the little book. And these are daily cards that you can draw like oracle cards if you want to be reminded without having to read a book. So there's only 4 agreements, which sounds really simple, not 10 commandments, not 12 steps. It's been a long time since I've sat on a bar stool. It's a bit wobbly. So there's only 4 agreements, which seems really simple. And they are really simple, but they're incredibly complex. And I think they're quite challenging to consistently live with. But it's good to keep them in mind. And just to remind you what they all are, I'm going to quickly review. Agreement number 1 is be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. 3, don't make assumptions. And 4, always do your best. So for those of you who weren't here, I'll just do a recap. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Means using your word in the direction of truth and love for yourself and others. The word is a force that you control, and your power to communicate, think, and manifest things. Your words and opinions can plant what you might call belief seed in yourself and others. So, and then the second agreement, don't take anything personally, is really challenging. Because we are, most of us, pretty egocentric. Everything is about me, me, me. And I'm responsible for everything. And basically, if you take things personally and have that belief, it's the most selfish thing. It's the maximum expression of selfishness. So now we're going to move right on to agreement number 3. Don't make assumptions. Okay. Anybody assume anything this morning? There you go.
Assume the sun would rise, even though it took forever.
There you go. You assume your car will start. You assume that your beloved will bring you coffee. Anyway, the primary problem with making assumptions is that we believe they're true.
Well, the sun will rise, it's true. So sometimes they're true. Just being the devil's advocate over here.
That's okay.
Because I can.
Of course, the earth turns, the sun just stays, you know.
But I mean, the sun,
All right.
we perceive the sun to be rising. Let me put it that way.
Okay, I think we're getting off track just a tad. The thing is that most assumptions are things that you make up in your mind. You're assuming how other people think, what they believe, what their actions mean. This is the kind of assumptions that we're talking about. Or you might make assumptions about yourself that you're incapable of something or other. And the thing is that those aren't true. They're just made up, and they're made up by you. So you're totally in control of your assumptions once you're aware of them. I'm just going to read a little bit from his book about assumptions. Are any of you in relationships? You know, friends, family, kids. Right.
She's not assuming.
Yeah, I just thought I'd ask. You might be living in a cave all by yourself. Well, he says in his little book, making assumptions in our relationships is really asking for problems. Mm-hmm. Often, we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to tell them what we want. We assume they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and can often say, "You should have known." Or the good one, "You should have known better." Does this ring familiar with anyone? Just a personal example, when my husband was alive, we'd been married, then we got divorced, then we got remarried, and I was feeling, probably it was more about me feeling insecure than it was about him, but I turned it on him. And I kind of had a go at him. I said, how come you never say you love me? And he was shocked. And he looked at me and he said, well, of course I love you. I thought you knew I loved you by all the things I do for you. And I thought about it for a minute, but then I said, yeah, I do know that, but I need to hear the words. I'm an auditory person. I need to hear the words. Well, he thought that was pretty silly because he's a very pragmatic person. But he loved me. So what he would do every night when we would kiss goodnight, he would joke kind of, well, it got better later. It was a little tricky at first. He would say, I love ya. And it worked. It worked for me. It made me feel loved. And so the thing is that you have to avoid making assumptions. You have to have the courage to ask questions. And sometimes that's not easy. But questions can lead to clear communications. And then you don't need to make assumptions. And you certainly don't need to assume that everyone sees life the same way you do, which is a big one for me. I always find it amazing that they don't. So you might want to ponder. I'll do a brief introduction to Agreement 4, and then we'll open the discussion. But you might want to ponder for a moment, cast your mind back. Can you think of a time when someone failed to meet your expectations, either in their behavior or their words or whatever, because they failed to read your mind? And you assume that they should know. So agreement number 4 will kind of let you off the hook. If you can manage to do agreement number 4, it makes all the other agreements, it allows the other 3 to become deeply ingrained habits. Agreement number 4 is always do your best. And it has the word do in it because it means you have to take action. You can take action by being aware of these agreements. And you can, when you take action, you can take action on all the other wonderful ideas that are in your mind. And this is how you manifest the life that you want. Take action over an idea because you love it, not because you expect some reward. And you know, expressing who you are, expressing your own light, is taking action for the benefit of everyone. So express who you are and give it your best effort. What he says in this, I should just say, if you, never mind. But if you don't always do your best, you might kind of mess up some of the other agreements. And guess what? You can always do your best backwards. So this is what he says in his little book. The first 3 agreements will only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine, I can't figure out a thing. Your routine, sorry.
Do your best.
Yeah, always do your best. Which best are you doing? Okay. I'm sorry for the distraction. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine habits are too strong and firmly rooted in your mind, but you can do your best to stay aware and catch yourself. You can always, do it over. Don't expect that you will never take anything personally or make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself, but you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means that you practice, look honestly at the results, and keep practicing. Everything you have ever learned, you learned through repetition. If you do your best, always, over and over again, you will become a master of transformation. Practice is what makes the master. By doing your best, you become the master.